Solar PV Cast by Shift, a podcast exploring solar energy and the role it plays in improving our lives and our planet. Here's your host, Chris Palliser.
New advancements in technology are a constant in the world of solar. Last week, SolarEdge, who is a global leader in smart energy technology, launched the SolarEdge Home in North America. Joining us to chat a bit more about this exciting development is Michelle Spina, Sales Education Manager, and Connor Morrison, Product Marketing Manager from SolarEdge. Michelle and Connor, thanks for joining the show.
Hey, Chris.
Thanks for having us.
The SolarEdge Home. This is obviously very exciting for you guys. You had the big launch last week. What is it?
Well, I think for me, it is taking all of our components and turning them into an energy ecosystem. So something that really interesting that came out yesterday, PV Magazine just had an article that said half of consumers are actually looking to reduce their carbon footprint as a priority and getting to a net zero home. To me, SolarEdge Home is that. It's getting them there. So it includes solar, it includes EV chargers, batteries, smart energy management devices, and it grows with that homeowner's appetite for energy as their needs change.
So one-stop shop kind of thing.
Yep, that's right. Would you say that, Connor?
Yeah. I think that, SolarEdge itself presents a lot of advantages in terms of how much power it can provide to homeowners. To Michelle's point, there's a lot of new devices where homeowners can start using that power. So, step one was get the solar. Step two, get people more solar. And then step three is help homeowners use it more effectively. And I think SolarEdge Home does a very good job of that.
Well, that brings us to our next question. How does the SolarEdge Home benefit a homeowner? I know the DC to DC battery plays a role in that.
Yeah. So without too much nerd talk with tech, the DC coupled technology does really help. It essentially means more efficiency for that homeowner, more power for the homeowner, less conversions of that energy before we can use it in the house. So that's a huge benefit of a DC coupled solution, along with less electrical upgrades. So the more things that you're putting onto your house, like solar, batteries, et cetera, a lot of times that is requiring an electrical upgrade. With SolarEdge, we're able to avoid those things. But really, for the homeowner, for the long term, it's being able to control your energy, make smart energy decisions all from one app, and being really understanding predictability of energy, which we've never had before as consumers.
So amazing to give the homeowner that much control, but also wonderful that they can see the whole process from right when the photons come into the panels until that energy goes into your house and your EV.
Yep, that's right. So we can actually charge from excess PV energy with the SolarEdge EV charger, which really helps to, like Connor said, maximize and use the power that they're generating in the best possible way.
What about from an installer standpoint? You mentioned the system simplifies the installation and commissioning process for installers. How does it benefit the installers that are listening to the Solar PV Cast?
So one thing that Michelle already mentioned, it's big for homeowners, but it's also big for installers, is the fact that they can avoid MPUs. The DC architecture allows you to stack more power and more devices behind one 40 amp breaker. So like in our launch event, we kind of talked through a scenario where a homeowner could have 15 kilowatts of PV, 3 10 kilowatt batteries, and an EV charger all stacked behind our 7.6 inverter, and all of that on one 40 amp breaker. And in that case, with other systems, you wouldn't be able to put that much in one breaker on a typical home and enforce a main panel upgrade. Outside of that, there's a home network that makes a lot of the connectivity wireless, which is very nice in the sense that there's a lot less hardwiring. And then, as you mentioned, commissioning times are a lot shorter as you actually put in that battery and start to do stuff. It's also nice that our app, as it commissions, allows some multifunctionality. So as your phone is commissioning, you can do other things on your phone, whether it's call, headquarters and tell them that you're still on site, or whatever, check your Instagram. You can actually do some multitasking while the commissioning process goes underway.
Yeah, I think a big part of it too, though, is we are really used to, in the solar industry, what we call Franken solar. It's like installers have components from every single manufacturer. The panels are from somewhere else, the inverter, the batteries, the module level power electronics. So they're having to do training with all of these different manufacturers. They're having to work with warranties from different manufacturers. And what we wanted to do was simplify that whole process to where we have a fully compatible ecosystem that our installers can be trained on, can call one source for any support, and can be ensured that those components down the line are going to be compatible with one another. Whereas if you're working with other manufacturers, a lot of times it's reactionary to the technology changes of that other manufacturer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? Streamline everything, keep it one product, and you're talking to one person if there happens to be an issue.
Right.
One other thing to that point is that for installers, it reduces a lot of roof work because of that backward compatibility. The products on the roof, especially if you want to add a battery or something like that, play well with our inverters coming out. So usually, even if you have to do an upgrade on the inverter, you're just doing it at the wall level. So you don't have to go on the roof. I mean, that's big in California because if you're messing with tile roofs, you really don't want to go up there and break tiles and things like that. So keeping all the work on the ground is a big benefit.
And from a safety standpoint as well, like you said, you won't be breaking tiles, and less people on the roof is good in the long run.
Yeah.
You've mentioned it a few times, the apps. I know SolarEdge has got a quality app, and how is that going to work with the SolarEdge Home? Is there anything different to the current app?
Yeah, there's really two apps. One is My SolarEdge, which is the homeowner-facing app, and one is SolarEdge Monitoring. But the thing that's really exciting is My SolarEdge for homeowners gives them that visibility into their whole ecosystem into one app. So I would invite even anybody on this podcast to download My SolarEdge on your phone. There's demo sites on there that you need no login for at all. And you can see these real sites that are happening and interacting as they, charge and discharge battery, as they charge and discharge the car. So you can actually visually see what's happening with these real sites on My SolarEdge right now. But for the homeowner, they can see the production of their solar system, the consumption of their home, so they can make these smart energy decisions and change their habits if they need to. They'll see the battery levels. They can adjust and schedule their EV charging all from the app. So it's really managing all of these devices from one location.
That's just it, again, with the streamlining, right? Rather than checking your inverter with this app and your panels with this app, it's all going to be in that one spot.
Yeah.
Saves room for Instagram, like you said, Connor.
The future is now. The Solar PV Cast by Shift.
Chatting on the podcast today with Michelle Spina, Sales Education Manager, and Connor Morrison, Product Marketing Manager from SolarEdge, about the SolarEdge Home. You guys got to tell me about this Weather Guard feature.
Yeah, so that's built in within the My SolarEdge app. Basically, what it does is it monitors the weather service, and it's designed to detect if there's incoming weather or a planned outage or something like that that might impact the homeowner's electrical experience. And so if it detects that, it will automatically charge your battery and make sure that everything's filled up so that when the weather events or the event occurs, you're backed up and you have a full battery and you can weather the outage without having to worry about anything.
Let's talk extra features. I know in the article I was reading about the SolarEdge Home, it talked about the room for expansion, extra features and capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you can add up to 3 batteries per inverter, which is really conserving the amount of space that you have in the garage needed for other devices. And many times homeowners have the appetite for one battery when they first go solar, and then they want to add a couple more later as they're getting these other things like electric vehicles. So we wanted to be able to create something that was flexible. You will see coming down the pipe at the end of the year, smart energy management devices. So these are the things where from the app, if you have a heavier load, like have you ever had a situation where you were at the grocery store, you were on vacation, you forgot to turn off your thermostat and you wanted to turn that off remotely? This is what that would do. So you would be able to remotely turn off these heavier loads so you can conserve energy, especially in an outage situation. You'd be able to turn off those heavier loads. So it's really managing every appliance in your home as needed. So those are coming down the pipe towards the end of the year, as well as generator support with our inverter, which essentially would automatically turn on a generator if needed after the battery has been depleted.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds exciting. You guys are obviously pretty stoked about this, yeah?
It's really changing the paradigm in the industry. I mean, I've been in the industry for 10 years now, and I always wanted to sell something more for homeowners, and there's never an option. Now being able to go back to homeowners and sell them other things is really changing the dynamic of the solar industry, and we're very excited about that.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to educate us on what SolarEdge is bringing to the table.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, man.